1971, Paramount Studios. Hollywood, California. Al Pacino walks onto the Godfather set for the first time. He's 31 years old. Unknown. Nervous. His hands are shaking slightly. Not from fear. From excitement. From disbelief. Because standing 50 feet away from him is Marlon Brando. The Marlon Brando. The greatest actor alive. The legend. The icon. The man who revolutionized acting with A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront. The man every actor in the world wants to work with. And Al Pacino? He's about to share scenes with him. Play his son. Act opposite the king of Hollywood. This should be the greatest moment of Al Pacino's life. But in exactly 10 minutes, Marlon Brando is going to say something that will shatter Al Pacino's world. Let's back up. How did Al Pacino even get this role? Nobody wanted him. Not Paramount Studios. Not the producers. Nobody. They wanted a star. Robert Redford. Warren Beatty. Ryan O'Neal. Big names. Box office draws. Safe bets. But director Francis Ford Coppola? He saw something different in Al Pacino. Raw talent. Authenticity. The real Michael Corleone. Coppola fought for him. Fought hard. If you don't cast Al Pacino, I'm walking, Coppola told the studio. The studio relented. Barely. So Al Pacino got the role. But he knows the truth. He's on thin ice. One mistake. One bad scene. One moment where the studio executives think, we were right, he's not good enough, and he's gone. Replaced. Fired. The pressure is crushing. And now, he's about to rehearse with Marlon Brando for the first time. Francis Ford Coppola gathers the cast. Okay everyone, we're doing table reads today. Then we'll rehearse the hospital scene. Marlon, Al, you two will work together first. Al Pacino's heart is racing. This is it. His chance to prove himself. To show he belongs. To learn from the master. He walks toward the rehearsal area. Script in hand. Ready. Prepared. He's memorized every line. Studied every beat. This is his moment. Marlon Brando is sitting in a chair. Casual. Relaxed. Reading a newspaper. He doesn't look up when Al Pacino approaches. Mr. Brando, Al says quietly. Respectful. I'm Al Pacino. I'm playing Michael. Your son. I just wanted to say it's an honor to. Marlon Brando finally looks up. Studies Al Pacino's face for a moment. Then speaks. I don't rehearse. 3 words. I don't rehearse. Al Pacino freezes. I'm sorry, what? Brando folds his newspaper. Sets it down. I don't rehearse with other actors. Never have. I find it kills the spontaneity. So I won't be rehearsing with you today. Or any day. The words hang in the air. Al Pacino just stares. Trying to process this. Trying to understand. The greatest actor in the world just told him no. Won't work with him. Won't rehearse. Won't help him prepare for the biggest role of his life. Around them, the set goes quiet. Everyone heard it. Everyone's watching. Waiting to see how the young unknown actor will react to being rejected by the legend. Francis Ford Coppola steps in quickly. Marlon, this is Al's first major film. Maybe just this once. No, Brando interrupts. Not mean. Not angry. Just firm. Matter of fact. I don't rehearse. It's nothing personal against the kid. It's just how I work. He stands up. Walks away. Conversation over. Al Pacino is left standing there. Alone. In front of the entire cast and crew. Rejected. Dismissed. By his idol, most actors would have been devastated. Would have run to their trailer. Called their agent. Maybe even quit. But Al Pacino? He does something completely unexpected. He doesn't move. Doesn't leave. Just stands there for a moment. Thinking. Processing. Then he picks up his script. Walks to the empty chair where Brando was sitting. And starts rehearsing. Alone. Out loud. Full commitment. Playing both parts. His lines and Brando's lines. Running the entire scene by himself. The crew watches in confusion. What is he doing? Al Pacino doesn't care. He runs the scene once. Twice. 3 times. Adjusting. Experimenting. Finding different readings. Different emotions. Different approaches. He's not sulking. He's not complaining. He's working. Francis Ford Coppola watches this. Fascinated. Most young actors would need reassurance. Would need hand-holding. Would need the director to tell them it's okay. But Al Pacino? He's problem-solving. Adapting. Finding a way forward. After 20 minutes of this, Coppola approaches. Al, you don't have to. Yes I do, Al interrupts quietly. If Brando won't rehearse with me, I need to be prepared for anything. I need to be ready for whatever he gives me on camera. The only way to do that? Practice every possible version of this scene. So when we're filming and he does something unexpected, I can react truthfully. Coppola stares at him. That's actually brilliant. You're not upset? Coppola asks. Al Pacino looks up. Upset? Francis, Marlon Brando just taught me the most important lesson of my career. What lesson? That I can't rely on anyone else. That I need to be so prepared, so ready, that it doesn't matter what my scene partner does. I'll be ready for anything. Brando doesn't rehearse? Fine. I'll rehearse enough for both of us. Word spreads on set. The young actor who Brando refused to work with? He's not crying. He's not complaining. He's working harder. Every day before filming, Al Pacino arrives 2 hours early. Rehearses alone. Runs his scenes. Prepares for every possible outcome. The other actors notice. Respect starts building. This kid has something. Something different. Something special. But here's what nobody knows yet. Marlon Brando is watching. From a distance. Quietly. He sees Al Pacino arrive early every day. Sees him rehearsing alone. Sees the dedication. The commitment. The refusal to quit. And Brando starts to think. Maybe I was wrong about this kid. First day of filming. The hospital scene. Where Michael Corleone visits his father after the assassination attempt. Al Pacino is ready. He's rehearsed this scene 50 times alone. He knows every line. Every beat. Every emotion. He's prepared for anything Brando might throw at him. They set up the cameras. Francis Ford Coppola calls action. Marlon Brando, lying in the hospital bed as Vito Corleone, barely moves. Barely speaks. Just subtle gestures. Tiny movements. Almost nothing. This is Brando's genius. Less is more. Underacting that's more powerful than any big performance. And Al Pacino? He matches it. He doesn't try to outact Brando. Doesn't try to be bigger. He meets Brando exactly where he is. Subtle. Real. Truthful. The scene plays out. 2 minutes of quiet intensity. Father and son. No words needed. Just presence. Cut. Coppola yells. Silence on set. Everyone knows they just witnessed something special. Marlon Brando sits up in the hospital bed. Looks directly at Al Pacino. And for the first time, he smiles. "Kid," Brando says slowly. "That was good. Really good." Al Pacino nods. "Thank you, Mr. Brando. Call me Marlon." Those 3 words mean everything. Because Marlon Brando doesn't say that to just anyone. He's accepting Al Pacino. Respecting him. Acknowledging him as an equal. After the take, Brando approaches Al Pacino privately. "I heard you've been rehearsing alone every morning," Brando says. "Yes, sir." "Why?" Al Pacino meets his eyes. "Because you taught me I can't depend on anyone else to make me good. I have to make myself good. You refusing to rehearse with me? Best thing that could have happened. It forced me to be ready for anything." Brando studies him for a long moment. Then laughs. Actually laughs. A real, genuine laugh. "You know what, kid? I didn't refuse to rehearse with you because I thought you were bad. No. No. I refused because I wanted to see what you were made of. Hollywood is full of actors who need their hand held. Who need constant validation. Constant reassurance. I wanted to see if you'd crumble or if you'd rise." Al Pacino's eyes widen. "You were testing me?" "Not consciously," Brando admits. "But yeah. I guess I was. And you know what? You passed. You didn't complain. Didn't quit. Didn't run to the director crying. You just worked harder. That's rare, kid. That's really rare." He puts his hand on Al Pacino's shoulder. "You're going to be a great actor. Maybe even greater than me someday." Al Pacino doesn't know what to say. Marlon Brando, the legend, just gave him the highest compliment possible. From that day forward, everything changes. Brando and Al Pacino develop a relationship. Not exactly friends. But mutual respect. Deep respect. Between takes, Brando starts giving Al Pacino advice. Small things. "Try this. What if you did it this way?" Not in a condescending way. In a collaborative way. Actor to actor. Equal to equal. The crew notices. Brando never does this. He's famously difficult. Famously distant. But with Al Pacino? He's engaged. Present. Helpful. Why? Because Al Pacino earned it. Not by kissing up. Not by begging. But by showing up. By working. By proving he belonged. One night, after a particularly difficult scene, Brando and Al Pacino sit together. Just the 2 of them. Quiet moment. "Can I tell you something?" Brando asks. "Of course. When they first told me you were cast as Michael, I thought they made a mistake. You were too unknown. Too unproven. Too risky." Al Pacino nods. "I know. Everyone thought that. But I was wrong," Brando continues. "You're not just good, Al. You're special. You have something I recognize. Because I had it too when I was young. That hunger. That need to be truthful. Not just good. Truthful. Don't ever lose that." Al Pacino looks at him. This moment. This validation. From the greatest actor alive. It means more than any award ever could. I won't, Al promises. I won't. The young unknown actor who was rejected by the legend. Who didn't quit. Who worked harder. Who earned respect not through talent alone, but through character. But the story's not over. What happened next between Brando and Al Pacino during filming? How did this relationship change both of their careers? And what did Brando say to Al Pacino on the last day of filming that made Al Pacino cry? Week 3 of filming The Godfather. 1971. The entire dynamic on set has shifted. It's no longer Marlon Brando the legend and Al Pacino the unknown. Now it's two actors. Two craftsmen. Working together. Pushing each other. Respecting each other. But here's what nobody expected. Al Pacino isn't just learning from Brando. Brando is learning from Al Pacino. It happens during the restaurant scene, where Michael Corleone kills Sollozzo and the corrupt police captain. The most important scene in the movie. The moment Michael transforms from war hero to cold-blooded killer. Al Pacino has been preparing for this scene for weeks. Alone. Every morning. Visualizing every moment. Every breath. Every heartbeat. The day arrives. They set up the cameras. The other actors, Al Lettieri and Sterling Hayden, are ready. Francis Ford Coppola yells, "Action!" And something unexpected happens. Al Pacino's hand starts shaking. Not because he's nervous. Because Michael is nervous. It's his first kill. His hands should shake. It's real. It's truthful. The scene plays out. Michael excuses himself to the bathroom. Retrieves the gun. Returns to the table. The tension is suffocating. Unbearable. You can feel Michael's terror. His internal war. His point of no return. Then, bang. Bang. 2 shots. Michael kills them both. The look on Al Pacino's face after the shooting? It's not triumph. It's not relief. It's shock. Horror at what he just did. The realization that he can never go back. Cut. Coppola yells. Complete silence on set. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. Then, from behind the cameras, slow clapping. One person. Marlon Brando. He's watching from the monitors. And he's applauding. Actually applauding. He walks onto the set. Approaches Al Pacino. And says 6 words that change everything. That is how you transform a character. The entire crew erupts in applause. Because they all just witnessed it. The birth of a legend. The moment Al Pacino proved he wasn't just good. He was great. That night, Brando invites Al Pacino to his trailer. Private conversation. Just the two of them. "I need to tell you something," Brando says, pouring 2 glasses of whiskey. "Okay. That scene today? The restaurant scene? I couldn't have done it better myself. And I need you to understand what that means coming from me." Al Pacino sits quietly. Listening. "I've worked with everyone," Brando continues. Montgomery Clift. James Dean. Every great actor of my generation. And you know what? Most of them were imitating me. Copying my style. My mannerisms. My approach. But you? You're not copying anyone. You're doing something completely your own. And it's brilliant." He hands Al Pacino the whiskey glass. The shaking hands? "I didn't expect that. It wasn't in the script. But it was perfect. Because it was real. That's what great acting is, Al. Not performing. Being." And you're one of the few actors I've ever met who truly understands that. Al Pacino doesn't know what to say. Marlon Brando, the man who invented modern acting, just told him he's on the same level. Thank you, Marlon. That means everything. Brando raises his glass. To not needing rehearsal. Because you're already that good. They drink. And in that moment, a true friendship is born, but here's what makes this relationship special. It's not one-sided. Brando starts watching Al Pacino work. Studying him. And he realizes something. Al Pacino has something Brando lost years ago. Hunger. Brando became famous young. Too young. The fame, the money, the adulation, it made him lazy. Made him stop caring. Made him phone in performances for paychecks. But Al Pacino? He's starving for greatness. Every scene matters. Every moment matters. Every choice is intentional. And watching Al Pacino work? It reminds Brando of who he used to be. Before the fame. Before the cynicism. When acting was everything. One day between takes, Brando pulls Al Pacino aside. Can I ask you something? Of course. Why do you care so much? You've already got the role. You're doing great. You could coast. But you're still arriving 2 hours early. Still rehearsing alone. Still pushing yourself. Why? Al Pacino thinks for a moment. Then answers honestly. Because this might be my only chance. I'm 31. I've been struggling for 10 years. Off-Broadway. Small roles. Barely paying rent. This movie? The Godfather? This is my one shot. If I don't give it everything, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. So yeah, I care. I care more than anything. Brando stares at him. And something shifts in his eyes. Recognition. Respect. Maybe even envy. You're right, Brando says quietly. I forgot what that feels like. To care that much. To need it that badly. Thank you for reminding me. From that conversation forward, Brando changes. Subtly. But noticeably. He starts arriving on time. Starts knowing his lines. Starts being present. Not just physically, but mentally. Emotionally. The crew is shocked. Marlon Brando doesn't do this. He's famous for being difficult. For not caring. For collecting paychecks. But Al Pacino changed him. Not by preaching. Not by judging. Just by example. By showing what true dedication looks like. Francis Ford Coppola notices. Pulls Al Pacino aside one day. I don't know what you did, Coppola says. But Brando's different. He's actually trying now. He hasn't tried this hard in years. You did that, Al. You inspired him. Al Pacino shakes his head. I didn't do anything. I'm just trying not to mess up. That's exactly the point, Coppola smiles. You're so focused on being good, you don't realize you're making everyone around you better. That's what great actors do. They raise the level of everyone else. The wedding scene. The opening of The Godfather. Massive scene. Hundreds of extras. Entire Corleone family. Brando as Vito Corleone sits in his office. Listening to requests. Granting favors. Being the Godfather. Between setups, Al Pacino watches Brando work. Studies every choice. Every gesture. The way Brando strokes the cat. The way he whispers. The way he makes power look quiet instead of loud. Brando catches Al Pacino watching. Waves him over. You're studying me, Brando says. Not accusatory. Just observant. Yeah, Al Pacino admits. I'm trying to learn. You make it look so effortless. Want to know the secret? Please. Brando leans in. It's not effortless. That's the illusion. Every choice I make. I've thought about it. Rehearsed it. Tested it. The cat? I found it on set and decided to use it because it makes Vito seem gentle. Dangerous and gentle. The whisper? Because real power doesn't need to shout. Every single thing is calculated. But I make it look natural. That's the craft, Al, making hard work look easy. Al Pacino's mind is blown. Because he thought Brando was just naturally gifted. But no. It's work. Intelligent, intentional work. Thank you for telling me that, Al Pacino says. Why wouldn't I? You're going to carry this art form forward when I'm gone. You deserve to know the secrets. That sentence hits different. When I'm gone. Like Brando is passing the torch. Handing over the legacy, final week of filming. The scene where Vito Corleone dies in the tomato garden. Playing with his grandson. Heart attack. The end of the dawn. It's Brando's last scene. His last day on the Godfather set. The scene is beautiful. Tragic. Brando playing with the child. Putting orange peels in his mouth to make fangs. Making the kid laugh. Then, collapse. Death. The end of an era. Cut. Coppola yells. That's a wrap on Marlon Brando. The entire crew applauds. Standing ovation. Brando waves, smiles, takes a bow. But he doesn't leave. He walks directly to Al Pacino. Walk with me, Brando says. They walk away from the set. Away from the cameras. Away from everyone. Just the two of them. Al, I need to tell you something before I go. Okay. Brando stops walking. Turns to face him directly. When I first met you, I saw a scared kid trying to prove himself. Someone who didn't belong. Someone who would probably get fired halfway through shooting. Al Pacino nods. I know. Everyone thought that. But I was wrong. You're not a scared kid. You're a lion. You have something I've rarely seen in my entire career. You have soul. You don't just act. You bleed. Every scene. Every moment. It's all real for you. And that's why you're going to be one of the greatest actors who ever lived. Al Pacino's eyes start watering. He tries to hold it back. Don't hold it back, Brando says gently. Feel it. That's your strength, Al. You feel everything. Don't ever apologize for that. Don't ever hide it. Because that's what makes you special. A single tear rolls down Al Pacino's face. When this movie comes out, Brando continues, people are going to forget about me. They're going to be talking about you. About Michael Corleone. About how you stole the whole damn movie. And I want you to know, I'm not jealous. I'm proud. Because I got to witness your arrival. I got to be there when Al Pacino became Al Pacino. Al Pacino can't speak. Can't find words. So he just extends his hand. Brando takes it. Then pulls him into a hug. A real hug. Not a Hollywood hug. A real one. Thank you for reminding me why I became an actor, Brando whispers. I forgot. But you reminded me. You made me care again. And that's a gift I can never repay. They separate. Brando walks away. Off the set. Out of The Godfather. And out of Al Pacino's daily life. But not out of his heart. Not out of his memory. Not out of his career. December 1972. The Godfather premieres. It's a phenomenon. Biggest movie of the year. Critical acclaim. Box office records. And the reviews? They mention Brando. Of course they do. He's brilliant. But they obsess over Al Pacino. A star is born. Al Pacino's transformation is the heart of the film. Move over Brando, there's a new king in town. Al Pacino reads the reviews in his apartment. Alone. And he thinks about that first day. When Brando refused to rehearse. When everyone thought he'd fail. He thinks about how Brando could have crushed him. Could have made him look bad. Could have stolen every scene. But Brando didn't. He elevated him. Pushed him. Challenged him. Respected him. Made him better. That's what true legends do. They don't tear down the next generation. They build them up. 1973. Academy Awards. Both Brando and Al Pacino are nominated. Brando for Best Actor. Al Pacino for Best Supporting Actor. Brando wins. But he doesn't attend the ceremony. Sends a Native American activist instead to refuse the award in protest. Classic Brando. Al Pacino loses. But he doesn't care. Because he knows something the Academy doesn't. He already won. The day Marlon Brando called him an equal. The day Brando said, "You're going to be one of the greatest." That was his Oscar. Years pass. Decades. Both men continue their careers. Both become legends. They don't work together again. Different paths. Different movies. Different lives. But in every interview, when Al Pacino is asked about his influences, he says the same thing. Marlon Brando taught me everything. Not by rehearsing with me. But by refusing to. He forced me to be ready for anything. To rely on myself. To be strong. That first day when he said, "I don't rehearse," I thought my career was over. But actually, it was just beginning. Because he taught me the most important lesson: you have to make yourself great. Nobody else can do it for you. And when Brando is asked about his favorite actors, his favorite scene partners, his answer? Al Pacino reminded me why I fell in love with acting. He reminded me that it matters. That it's not just a job. It's a calling. Working with him on The Godfather? That was the last time I truly cared about a performance. And I'll always be grateful to him for that. July 1, 2004. Marlon Brando dies. Age 80. Al Pacino is asked to speak at a memorial tribute. He stands at the podium. Looks at the crowd of Hollywood legends. And speaks from the heart. Marlon Brando didn't just teach me acting. He taught me about respect. About earning your place. About never settling. When we first met, he refused to rehearse with me. And I was devastated. But later, I understood. He was testing me. Seeing if I'd quit or if I'd fight. And when I fought, when I showed up every day and worked harder than I'd ever worked, he respected me. And that respect? That meant more than any award. Any review. Any success. Because it came from the king. The best there ever was. Thank you, Marlon. For the rejection that made me stronger. For the respect that made me better. For the friendship that made me human. I'll carry your lessons for the rest of my life. The room erupts in applause. But Al Pacino isn't done. And if there's a heaven, and Marlon's up there right now, I hope he's finally rehearsing. Because he's got eternity now. Plenty of time to prepare. The room laughs through tears. Because it's perfect. It's true. It's exactly what Brando would have wanted. The young unknown actor who was rejected by the legend. Who didn't quit. Who earned respect through character, not just talent. Who reminded the greatest actor alive why acting matters. That's the real story of Marlon Brando and Al Pacino. Not a story about rehearsal. But a story about respect. And respect? You can't rehearse that. You have to earn it.